Expected points, clean sheet odds, and who is the best captain. This video has got all of the information you need to know ahead of Game Week 17. Before I get into the expected points data, I just wanted to say that all of this comes from Fantasy Football Hub. You can sign up to Fantasy Football Hub using the link in the description. I get you not only 30% off at the moment, but also a month's completely free, so you can try it out before subscribing for real. So, the whole idea behind this video, we'll start off with expected points, and we've got Game Week 17 in isolation for goalkeepers up first. Flecken is the top goalkeeper for expected points. 4.1, Nottingham Forest at home for him, followed by Leno, Raya, Muric, Alisson, Sanchez, and Pickford. Now, if you're making transfer decisions, I'd suggest that you'd look more than just one game week in time, right? I think most likely you're looking 3 to 5 game weeks in advance. And here I've got the best goalkeepers for the next 5 game weeks. Alisson comes in at number 1. Liverpool statistically the best defence in the league so far this season. And he's also a goalkeeper that traditionally makes quite a lot of saves. So I can see the logic behind him being number 1. You got Raya in 2nd, Martinez in 3rd, Rob Sanchez in 4th, Ortega, Pickford and Leno as your top keepers for the next 5. On to defenders then, and the top defender for Game Week 17 is Gabriel. Back fit, ready to go for Game Week 16, so he should be fine to start that game against Crystal Palace away. I think they've got a decent chance of keeping a clean sheet in that one, and also we all know how dangerous he is from set pieces. Robertson, I can't include him. He got sent off, obviously, in Game Week 16, so we'll skip over that. Hasn't quite updated with that red card. Robinson is 3rd place. Southampton, well, actually 2nd. Southampton at home for him. You got Trent, Collins, Leif Davis, and Pinnock as your top defenders for Game Week 17. And then for the next 5 game weeks, we've got Trent, Gabriel, Virgil van Dijk, Matty Cash, and Malo Gusto, followed by Saliba. So dominated there, basically, I'd say, by Liverpool and Arsenal defenders. Basically, the 2 strongest defences in the league so far this season. But what this view provides is just a view of the most expensive defenders in the game, and you naturally expect the most expensive defenders in the game to be amongst the top for expected points. So what I've got here is a view of the best cheap defenders for the next 5 game weeks. So I set a filter in Fantasy Football Hub, 5 million and below. A couple of players made the list previously. We've got Matty Cash and Malo Gusto. Munoz, literally at the time that I'm recording this video, picked up his 5th yellow card. So he's going to miss Game Week 17, but I've kept him in because I still think he's worth talking about. Once he serves a suspension for that yellow card, he actually misses the Arsenal fixture, which is obviously a pretty terrible fixture anyway. So he misses that fixture in 17, and I really do think from Game Week 18 onwards, he could be a really nice option in the game. We've got Kirkes, Hausen. I learned how to pronounce that on a stream this morning. Robinson again, and Colwill as your top cheap defenders for the next 5. Next up then, we've got midfielders, and for Game Week 17, it's actually joint at the moment on expected points between Palmer and Salah. Palmer with Everton away, Salah with Tottenham away, both joint on 7.1 expected points. Saka, Son, Bruno Fernandes also leading the way. Son, I've been quite disappointed with Son so far this season, I must say. I don't think he's been playing anywhere near the level he has in previous seasons. He's up there still for expected points, probably on his past record, but I struggle to see him being amongst the top players anymore. Bruno Fernandes, Bournemouth at home, scored, of course, against Man City. He's looking like a decent option. The fixtures for Man United are good. I think he could be quite a good option. And Mbumo, disappointing numbers recently, and Forest is obviously a tough defence, but Brentford goal scoring at home is just absolutely ridiculous. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him get returns there. And then Bowen at the bottom of the list there, but he's still obviously amongst the top midfielders. For the next 5 game weeks, it's Salah, followed by Palmer at the top, Saka, Foden, Son, Bruno Fernandes, and Eze. Again, similar to what we talked through on the defenders, the top midfielders for expected points over the next 5 are probably going to be the premium midfielders and the most expensive. And, well, that's exactly what we're seeing here. Thought it would also be interesting to show a view of the top cheap midfielders for the next 5 game weeks. So we've got Eze, who was on the list previously, Kulusevski, Semenyo, Ismail Assar is on the list, 5.7 million in really good form for Crystal Palace recently. Iwobi, Matoma, Brennan Johnson, who has just had a benching in Game Week 17. I've just seen he's on the bench at the moment, but he's still going to be a good option because once that benching in 16, I said 17, 16 is out of the way, he's obviously going to be a good option from there because I think that's kind of his rest up and he should play most of the games over the festive period. One player that isn't on this list at the moment, but I think will be in very due course is Ahmad. I think with his performance against Man City, I think he's pretty much nailed his place in that Man United team. We've both seen both Rashford and Garnacho left out. I think there's a space for Ahmad, and at his price, for an attacker for Man United, I think he offers great value, and I'd really consider him as an option. Forwards then, top of the list, Erling Haaland with Aston Villa away, but it's very close between him and Isak this week. Isak, of course, with Ipswich away. That's a much better fixture, and Isak is arguably in the better... Well, arguably, I don't think it's an argument. He's definitely in the better form. Cunha with Leicester away. We'll see if he gets a retrospective ban for his actions against Ipswich. Pulled the guy's glasses off and threw them on the ground, I'm pretty sure. So that would warrant a ban if it was me. Obviously, I wear glasses. I'd be fuming if that happened to me. I guess it is a little bit funny, though. Yeah. I'm not sure what to think of Cunha, to be honest. His returns, I was always saying this with Cunha, his returns weren't necessarily sustainable. I never thought they were anyway, because a lot of his goals came from outside the box and obviously scored against Ipswich. But I think in the lead up to that game, he was a bit quiet for 3 or 4 games, wasn't it? I think Leicester, you know, new manager, they could... Well, they won't have a new manager. They'll probably have a caretaker over that time, won't they? Certainly if he gets that ban, I definitely think it's time to sell him. Chris Wood, who I think is probably the best replacement for Cunha, to be fair. Mateta, Jackson and Solanke are your top forwards for 17. Over the next 5 game weeks, Haaland is top, 37.3 expected points for him. And I'd actually suggest, we'll get onto that, he is a genuine captaincy option in coming game weeks. I think 18, 19 and 20, he's very close on expected points with both Salah and Palmer. And I think he comes back into the conversation in terms of captaincy options. I know City have just lost to Man United and they're really in a poor patch at the moment, but when the fixtures turn good, I think he's still going to be in and amongst the goals. Isak in second place, followed by Cunha, Mateta, Wood, Jackson and Solanke. We'll see on Cunha. The fixtures do turn a little bit after 17, once he's got that Leicester game out of the way. And under the new manager, exactly how things set up. Well, under the caretaker manager, I'm not sure the caretaker manager is going to change much. But, you know, if they announce a new manager because they've got a plan in place throughout the week, then, you know, we'll see what happens there. Mateta, he's up there. Chris Wood, Jackson and Solanke are your top forwards for the next 5. I thought it'd be worth just having a quick look at the top cheap forwards. I'm not actually counting Cunha as a cheap forward because he's over 7 million. I've done a filter of 7 million and below. Chris Wood is the number 1, followed by Wissa. João Pedro, I wanted to talk a little bit about João Pedro because I think he's gone off the ball a little bit in recent games. I would stick to my guns and keep him, though. The Brighton fixture run is still really good. He's still going to be taking penalties. The manager absolutely loves him. I think he's going to remain in the starting 11 for the remaining games of that good fixture run. I'd keep the faith if I had him. Evan Nilsson, Strand Larsen, Delap, and the injured, well, he wasn't even in the squad for the Crystal Palace game, so will he be back for 17 and onwards with Welbeck? I don't know, but he's amongst the top forwards for expected points anyway. Clean sheet odds then, and in no particular order, I think the teams to pick out for me are ones that are above 30%. I always say this when I look at clean sheet odds. I'd feel relatively comfortable starting defenders from teams that have over 30% clean sheet odds. Here we've got Arsenal, Chelsea, they're 29, that's close enough. Newcastle, Fulham and Brentford. Those are your 4 teams. That's 4, isn't it? Yeah, 4 teams above 30% or 30%-ish or above. That says to me that there are going to be very few clean sheets going around in game week 17. So yeah, interesting one. We'll see. But yeah, certainly looks like clean sheets are going to be few and far between. On to the captaincy then, and we've looked at the expected points from Fantasy Football Hub throughout this video, and we've got, well, I'd say 5 potential captains in Palmer, Salah, Haaland, Isak and Saka, with Palmer and Salah leading the way. They're both on 7.1 expected points, which says there isn't much in it between the two of them. And I'm going to go back to my logic for captaining Salah in game week 16, is that I just think across the season he's been more consistent than Palmer. On his day, I guess Palmer could outscore Salah, but Salah has got, well, it's 10 double-digit returns this season. Double-digit number of double-digit returns in 16 game weeks. It's just absolutely crazy the level of consistency that he's performed at. Yes, it might be quite even in terms of expected points, but I'd look a little bit into that fixture as well. So Everton for Palmer, Tottenham for a Salah. Who do you really think is the strongest defence out of Everton at Goodison Park and Tottenham? I would actually hedge a bet that I would say Everton are better defensively than Tottenham are. So when you look at the fixture, I know the algorithms, etc., probably favour Tottenham because they're higher up in the table or whatever. But thinking defensively, I would actually back Everton above Tottenham. And I don't think that's too controversial a thing to say. So maybe that might help you make your captaincy decision. What we've got here is the Fantasy Football Hub expected points. And I know a lot of FPL managers like to use FPL Review to inform their decisions as well. So I've put their data in. Palmer is actually number 1 on FPL Review. It's 6.2 compared to Salah and Haaland both on 6, and Saka, of course, on 6 as well, as you can see there. Close between all of them, Isak and Mbeumo is actually the 6th in terms of captaincy option on FPL Review. So yeah, FPL Review has it just as Palmer. But when I think about it in a bit of detail, I think I prefer the fixture that Salah has. Let me know who your captain's going to be in the comments. All right, and that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed that and found it useful. Like I said, if you want to get this data from Fantasy Football Hub for yourself, there's a link to sign up in the description below. I'll get you 30% off and a 30-day free trial if you want to sign up using my link. If you enjoyed the video and found it useful, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave me a like rating. Let me know in the comments who your captain is going to be. And I think that's everything. Thank you very much for watching. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Golden Goal channel. If you haven't already, it should be just there on your screen. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in my next video.